Welcome to the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast.
Hello everyone, this is Jarvis Escott with What's Happening Birmingham. Today I have the honor and pleasure of welcoming back Crystal Mullen-Johnson.
Thank you so much for having me. I love sitting down with Jarvis.
Yes, thank you again,
You're
Crystal.
doing great things. High five. Yeah.
Yes, her great company, Strive Counseling Services. Well, she is no new face to the podcast. We just wrapped one up about a great event she has coming up, so please check that one out as well. And she did a previous 5-part series for me called Love and Relationships. And thank you for that. Based off the feedback that we got from that series.
I got some referrals from
that. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Testimonial, y'all. Testimonial.
Yeah.
I decided to bring her back again because we left a lot of issues on the table.
Well, we can remove those today.
So, what I would like to talk about now is when love turns to control.
Oh, yeah.
So we're talking about controlling relationships today, everyone.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Signs of it, red flags, and how to avoid them.
Yeah.
So let's first off with what are the red flags?
Gosh, well, red flags in a controlling relationship can include manipulation, when your partner is manipulating you, isolation, you recognize that your partner is isolating you from maybe your family and friends, and then the jealousy that has been expressed when you around your loved ones, especially those long-term relationships that has been sustained throughout your life. When you start to recognize the disrespect, when your partner starts to demean you, making you feel as if you're inadequate. Now, when I say making you feel, that is really important because sometimes when a person is abusive, they don't realize that their behavior is abusive, but it's how the receiver feels. It's how it makes you feel. So that's important to acknowledge. The teasing, maybe it's teasing about your weight. Okay, withholding things that are important to you. It could be sex, it could be money. So those are some of the signs, some of the red flags. Making you doubt yourself because your partner should be supportive of you. So your partner should not make you have that or create this sense of insecurities in the relationship. Also, big one is physical abuse. You know, start looking for, if your partner is holding you hostage in a room, maybe bumping into you or, pushing you, slapping you. Those behaviors cannot be taken lightly. Those are significant red flags. Threatening behavior. Also withholding your things like your cell phone, hiding your cell phone from you, hiding your keys from you. Those are some concerns that you should have, and if your partner is really critical. So those are just to name a few. Those are some common controlling behaviors that I've heard of or that I see or that I've come into contact, and just from a clinical perspective, those are some that I'm knowledgeable of. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. Because some people may be watching this and say, well, my definition of controlling has always been like whether it's physical abuse or I'm threatening you. And the way you're saying it, sometimes your opinions sometimes can make it controlling. Like if a person says, I know you hear this one all the time, like, why you don't spend enough time with me? Or why you spend so much time with your friends? Those statements sometimes for, to speak from a guy's perspective, it's just like, well, we're just saying, well, we're just making a statement. Or if it might go, vice versa.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's communication. Like, is this a persistent behavior? Like, it's okay to communicate to your partner that you don't feel they're spending enough time with you. But when you're not spending enough time with them, what are the behaviors that you're noticing? And if it's a, I think, fair, equal amount of time, that should be valued and respected. So that's why communication is important. And it's important to acknowledge those things that your partner is expressing to you. but it does become abusive. Or I mean, if you recognize that your partner is withholding things from you, or constantly calling and badgering you about it, or punishing you for being away from them, or making you feel some discomfort. So those are some of the red flags that you should look for, because sometimes we do work a lot and more time should be invested in spending time with our partners, but that doesn't necessarily mean your partner is controlling. But what are they doing when you're not with them? What are the actions? Their abusive actions, like verbal abuse. Is it like I said, some of the other passive aggressive behaviors that I named?
So do you find, like, I'm just thinking about maybe a guy's perspective, that a guy don't want, because maybe he's dated, maybe the person they're dating have had controlling men in the past,
sure.
Or vice versa, and they kind of like, they may want to spend more time, but they may want to hold back how they feel. Is that worse too, or is it just kind of like how you express it?
What? How do you clarify? I'm sorry.
Well, okay, like how you express it, like famous statement. Well, I feel like you don't spend enough time with me, or why you have to go out.
How do you communicate that?
Yeah, how you communicate that when I'm not feeling control?
Yeah, just kind of talk about I feel that we should spend more time together. Let's sit down and identify, some of the best times or compromises that we can make to spend time. It's all in how you communicate and speak. Like, you should speak compassionate, with compassion to your partner. Your tone, like, it should be loving. You should be supportive. I mean, you should make the person feel guilty or blame them. Okay, compromises are totally necessary in a relationship. But you should not manipulate your partner into feeling guilty or missing out on something that's very important. If you know your partner has a work engagement and you decided to schedule a date during that time, are you being respectful? So that's what I mean. Like, there's a healthy balance in a relationship. I hope I answered your question to your satisfaction. Okay.
So let's go to, let's just say, prevention. How, and people probably wonder, why are you looking at this paper? Because I knew I was doing this session today, and I just want to make sure I left no question, unturned, unasked. So how do you to avoid a controlling mate or getting in a situation like this? Well, it goes back to the red flags.
Yeah. I mean, again, and I think I mentioned this in the segment prior to this one. When you recognize the abusive traits, or the red flags, or if you have some triggers, acknowledge what they are, because a lot of times we acknowledge them but we're not reactive.
All right.
So acknowledging and being reactive, proactive, like distancing yourself gradually maybe from the relationship. And I think a conversation is necessary. I mean, I think it's worthwhile if you have invested your time in that relationship. If that person is significant or meaningful to you, yeah, you can talk about it. But after having the discussion and you're not recognizing any changes, that should be a concern for you. So what do you do next? Because I'm concerned if you stay in the relationship and it develops deeper, and then the abuse starts to surface and it becomes more severe, and it's difficult to detach yourself from a psychological and a physical abusive relationships because you may be afraid. Okay, and then you may have invested so much. What if you invested some things financially? What if y'all have children together? All of those things have to be taken into account. So deal with those things head on. Like, when you recognize them, when they're right there, makes you feel uncomfortable, address it immediately.
So let me ask you this,
Sure.
Because you counsel a lot of couples, and couples sit down, and in the process of sitting there talking these issues out, the man kind of sees his partner, or just female sees, can a controlling mate change?
Oh, well, let me say this first, since we're talking about couples and counseling and abuse and control. One of the questions I ask couples is if there is any domestic violence in the relationship. Because if there's active domestic violence, I'm not going to provide couples counseling.
Okay, yeah, please mention that.
Because they need to work individually through those issues, and I don't want any of that to surface in the session. Number two, to answer your question, if one of the partners presents some controlling behaviors, we'll talk about boundary setting. I always set boundaries in my sessions up front with couples, like parameters, because I think it's important to understand what each individual boundaries are, because they need to be respected. That's the purpose of counseling.
Yes.
So I'm helping model, what that should look like, because I want them to implement these skills outside of the session. So that's very important. But if we do recognize the controlling behavior, what I do with the couples are a speaker listening technique, and I allow them the opportunity to talk to each other so I can make an observation how they are interacting. And after that occur, I ask, how did that interaction make you feel? So it will be discovered or discussed, I felt hurt, or that's the aggression, or these are the things that I feel are violating me as an individual. And then I can definitely address, these are the things we observe. Your behavior is abusive. You were talking at her, you didn't allow her to decode your message. You were really aggressive, or you were assertive. You praised them. You did a great job. I think you did very well conveying what you're feeling and what you're thinking. So it's not always bad, but some people don't recognize that their communication is aggressive and damaging to their partner. Sometimes we don't let people know how they talk to us is affecting us. So I think it has a lot to do with how we are raised, the environment that we were raised in, and what has been modeled by those individuals that nurtured us, or that have modeled what a healthy relationship should be like.
Well, while you were speaking, the root causes, and you can tell me, of a controlling relationship is, there's trust. There's some trust issues.
Oh,
that
yeah,
kind of relates
absolutely.
to that.
Yeah, I mean, when we meet someone, hopefully we, trust them. But I think things can occur in a relationship over time that can damage a relationship. And I mean, if you decide to remain in the relationship, it's important that you prove to your partner that you can be trusted. How do you do that? I mean, it's following through, doing the things that you say you're going to do. It's being accountable. It's being affectionate. It's being loving. It's being supportive. So you're not inflicting harm on your partner, right? So those are things I think are important and vital to the foundation piece of a trusting relationship. Can trust be reestablished after damage has been done? Of course. I mean, if we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, but that's the challenge. Some people don't want to re-experience hurt. So, I mean, there could be a defense mechanism that doesn't allow you to be open and
or past hurt, or past
right,
relationships that make them become.
I think it requires maturity. I think it requires openness and honesty. Some people don't want to be truthful after they've offended someone and tell them exactly what they've done to violate that person. But I think that's important. I think that's mature. That's a mature thing to do. So, and there could be, I think, things that may not need to be surfaced. I mean, if it's ultimately damaging. But I think for the most part, those things should be revealed and discussed. I mean, openness and trustworthiness is important. And, if you're dating someone and you feel like they make more money and you don't feel in control, don't use abuse as a power.
As an equalizer.
Right, as an equalizer. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Be supportive, because some people use those tactics to gain control and power over the individual or to feel secure. But it's important for each individual to be secure within themselves, have individuality in the relationship, be confident, and equally support each other, because you all were brought together for a particular reason. You were attracted to each other, hopefully, and you saw some positive qualities, hopefully, and you felt like that this is somebody you can spend the rest of your life with. Or if this is something that's just temporary for you and you just want to have fun, I think it's important to express that, but being controlling is not a healthy trait at all in a relationship. And if someone brings that to your attention, it's important to immediately deal with that.
So I was just saying, have you had cases where men have discovered, like, I exhibit some controlling behaviors, and throughout the process of your counseling, have the behaviors changed?
Well, changing a behavior takes time and commitment, and self-awareness.
Right.
Some people have made that commitment, and definitely I've seen people improve some behaviors, but it's something that they have to consistently work on. You know, you have to think about it. They could have been controlling for like 20 years, you know, so you're just starting counseling. So it really is a process. It's a process of providing psychotherapy, and I think it could be beneficial. Counseling is very beneficial, learning new behaviors. So I think it's definitely possible, but that person has to be committed. Now, can I change someone that's not self-aware, that will not acknowledge they are controlling? Absolutely not. You can't do that. You know, that person has to acknowledge that they have these problems and be willing to commit to changing them. And it may require mental health professionals such as myself or someone else to assist them with that process.
Well, let me ask you this. This came to my mind while we was talking, and we even on the paper. Is every insecure person a controlling person?
No, not every insecure person. I don't think so. I mean, God.
Is that a trait, though?
Yeah, it's not a healthy trait.
Okay.
I mean, if you're insecure, I think it's important to identify why are you insecure, like what's going on. Like, don't ignore that feeling. It's a feeling. It's an action behavior that will follow that. So just be mindful of what makes you feel insecure and communicate that to your partner. I think your partner should make a commitment to, you know, not making you feel insecure, you know, by way of disrespecting you or doing things that you're saying are hurtful, but ensuring you that they're available to you and, you know, being affirming and loving. So I think that's a healthy interaction with a couple that is dealing with insecurities in a relationship.
All right, so let me ask you this another question as well. When it comes to, and this is, somebody asked me this question, it's kind of, someone asked you, and like, is sometimes flipping the game back on them, like reversing, saying, well, let me flip the tables on him, let me exhibit controlling behaviors to him or her, and if they've been controlling towards me, to kind of let them know how it feels?
Oh, that's not a healthy behavior, and I don't think it's healthy to create power struggles in a relationship. I mean, that's toxic. Like, that's not going to improve the quality of your relationship.
Yes.
So if you are feeling insecure, if you feel control, those are things that should be communicated. If the red flags are there, deal with them.
All right. And another thing I was thinking about too is like when it comes to jealousy. Jealousy, is that kind of like a pathway to the person becoming controlling in a way?
Oh, jealousy. Okay, so jealousy is an emotion. People feel that. What are you doing though? Like, if you feel jealous, are you controlling a person from communicating with females or males, like the opposite sex? That's a problem. It's a significant problem, and I think it should be communicated. Jealousy is like a really bad trait in a relationship. You should be equally confident in a relationship and have boundaries and parameters set and talk about what those are.
All right, so if they would like to contact you to
you know, we forgot. How do a person recover?
Yeah, how does a person recover from this? Yeah, well, before we say,
I think that's important.
Do the pitch. Yeah.
Okay, so if you have been in a relationship that has been controlling, and you decide to acknowledge or deal with the red flags that have, been presented to you, I think it's a great segue to exit the relationship. Focus on self-care, develop a new regimen, because you're accustomed to being with that person on the weekend or talking to them during the weekday, or just constant interaction. So get an exercise regimen. Be open and honest about it. A lot of times we don't want to be honest and talk about the reality of our lives or situations. So consider therapy. I would love to work with you, but if you don't work with me, talk to someone else, and consider reconnecting, like reclaiming those things that were important to you. If you were a dancer, reclaim that. If you had some type of interest, reclaim that. Rediscover yourself. Be empowered.
It's like you need to do like a relationship autopsy of yourself. Just like, examine all your partners, what mistake, what went wrong, what went right.
Yeah. Well, it's important that healing is important.
Yes.
So once you identify that you've had these struggles, heal from the breakup and then decide later to start a new relationship, you don't want to reattach yourself to someone that is just like the person you were with. Be mindful that it's okay to take breaks, okay? It's okay to spend time alone. There was another point I wanted to make. Just focus on, again, like I said, your health. And if you are in a domestic violent relationship, there's resources available such as the YWCA. They have support groups I think are excellent. Also, they have programs that are available to you. If you need to go to a shelter, please do that. Don't stay in a dangerous, damaging relationship. And develop a safety plan. So talk to a mental health professional that can help you exit a relationship that you feel you just can't escape. Because things can get that serious if you're in a controlling relationship. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that.
All right, so they would like to contact you to set up a session.
Absolutely.
Singles, couples.
Everyone.
Yes.
I'll see anyone. So contact Strive Counseling Services. I'm located downtown Birmingham, 2024 3rd Avenue North. My phone number is 205-721-9893. My website is www.strivebhm.com. My website has a lot of information. I also have a blog on my website, so just read some of that. Also, if you have questions for me, I would love to answer them. I'm accepting insurance. I'm on some of the EAPs in Birmingham, and some people choose to pay out of pocket. If I can't help you, guess what? I'm going to send you to someone that can. I'll make some recommendations for you. So thank you so much for listening in, and I really appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you, Crystal, as always. I appreciate you.
Yes,
like family to me.
Yes, I am.
Yes, and at the end of the day, we want everybody to be happy, because happy and you can't be in love without being confident. You can't be in love without being happy.
That's right. So again, remember the Community Mental Health Initiative, May 18th, Central Library downtown. It's going to be spectacular. It's free. Register from my website or on my Facebook page.
All right. Well, Crystal, thank you again. Please check out what'shappenedbirmingham.com for more videos, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank y'all again, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Make your day beautiful, and let's strive together.
Yeah, I like that. Bye, y'all.
Thank you for watching the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast. Please check out our website, app, or subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest videos today.